Hello everybody, Toby here again with 216 Auto Restoration in Montana. 1959 El Camino. I got the black painted, got the white painted, and the last thing I was doing, I believe, when I did a video was taking off the plastic wrap. I completely wrapped the whole vehicle with the plastic sheeting so I could paint inside of the box area. This area right in here. So we got that finished. The guy's gonna bring out the bed one of these days. I'm gonna place the bed down in here. Of course, I'll paint it first. We'll place it in here, cover up all that old yucky rust. But my intentions today are to start the color sanding process. So what I'll do is I'll spray the car down pretty good, get all that dust off of it, wipe it down. I'll go panel at a time and just take my time with it. I would usually start on the roof here, start at the highest point and just work my way down through the hood next, work my way around the sides. But being that I want to show you a little bit of the color sanding process and how that works, I'm going to start on the hood. You can see the hood turned out pretty decent, but there are, you can see the color, the orange peel and the lighting. I'm trying to get a good shot of some orange peel, but there's not much. But you can see it right up in here in that light. You can see that orange peel, a little bit of this, like that garbage right there. I hope you can see that. Across there, see that little nib sticking up right there. So the purpose of color sanding is to get all that orange peel out and get those little dust nibs out and make this car look super flat. So it'll shine a little bit more than it does right now. So what I usually do, and what most people do, they probably start with around 1,000 grit sandpaper, and they do this by hand. So I'm just laid out my products over here that I use so I can give you an idea. Use a bucket with water in it. I have some like 1,500. This is 1,500 grit. It's wet. I also have some 2,000. It's wet. Take these, I'll wrap around these little blocks like I had showed before. I've got these really soft blocks that I wrap my sandpaper around. Then I'll also use the squeegee. So sand a little bit, I'll use the squeegee to wipe it down, see the progress that I've made. There's also another squeegee here, a little harder rubber. I kind of like to use these double-sided ones and just use the gray side when I'm wiping it down. They seem to work really good for me. Everybody's different, so I also have part of a paint stick. I'll show you what that does. This is a great tool, and you'll see that put to use here pretty soon. But here's the 1,500 grit in the packages that you can buy, and also the 2,000. And it goes down to 1,600, whatever you want. But I'll also want to use it, makes my job way easier, is this Trizac sanding disc. And they're just a hook and loop Velcro back. I call it Velcro, everybody calls it hook and loop. So this right here, this is 1,500 grit. Then I'll move up to 3,000 grit. Then I'll move all the way up to 5,000 grit. What these are just pads. Like this right here. Hook and loop back. I have this little sander right here. It's a Dynagrade sander. They are like, oh, extremely good. Best sanders I've ever used. I'll never use a different one. Had these ones for years and years, and they just last and they keep going. You never have any issues with them. So on the sander here, I have one of these pads here. This pad right there, which is an intermediate pad. So the sander has a really hard pad that's on it right now. It's soft, it's got a little bit of flexibility to it. But this pad here is very, very soft. So hook that pad onto there. Take my Trizac, stick that on there, and that's what I will sand with. It's gonna save me a bunch of time because it just cuts through the paint way quicker than just doing it by hand. That's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Other people might do it a different way. And their way could be better than mine, but this is the way I do it. So I'm sticking with what I know, what works for me. So I start with the 1500 grit and also keep it wet. I always lay out these paper towels, which is not working too well for me right now, trying to do it one-handed. But I lay out these paper towels just so I can keep everything nice and clean, make sure I don't get any crap on my sandpaper. You definitely do not want to get any dust nibs on this and then end up putting a big scratch in your paint. Always make sure that that covers the whole pad. I'm gonna fix that a little bit better once I get going. But I also use my hose, spray off the car with that. I spray it off every couple minutes while I'm doing it. We've got the bucket with water in it. I keep dipping my sandpaper into. Also, I'll even dip my sander into there. I don't submerge it, but dip it enough to get the sandpaper wet. And I also have a spray bottle that I use. I just hook it right on my loop, one of my belt loops, or on my side, or on my pocket, and I keep that with me all the time so I can spray a little bit of it on the car like this. Something like that, just so I can keep it wet. Put a little Dawn dishwashing soap in there. It helps the sandpaper not bite so much into the paint, and it just makes the sandpaper kind of glide across the paint a little easier. You want it to bite, you want it to sand the paint, but you want it to be able to glide also, so you're not digging a hole. I'm exaggerating that by saying a hole, but you just keep it nice and smooth. Keep it going, use long strokes with this little sander. You don't keep it in one spot for too long. And you'll see that here. I'll try to show you as best as I can doing this one-handed. But there you have it. There's everything that I use. Also, when I'm painting the car, what I do is I write down everything. When I first coat, second coat, how long it's been between the coats, that way I know. Just a good way for me to keep track. Anyways, I'm gonna get started on this. I'm gonna wipe this car down with water, and I'll start the sanding process. So I'll be back with you here in a few minutes. Toby here with 216 Auto Restorations. Thank you for watching. See you in a few minutes. Take care.